Today on Investigate TV Plus, drivers in the dark about the danger they're creating. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Cars driving on the road at night without headlights or taillights.
A vehicle with the headlights out.
The truck didn't have its headlights on.
We examine the new technology behind the problem.
Plus, catalytic converter thefts fuel crime rings, and most of the time, thieves face few consequences.
Why do you think it's important to put this in place at the federal level?
It's such an interstate crime. We know this.
We go in depth with the senator who's pushing for tougher penalties in order to protect your car.
And pen pals bridge miles and decades.
It didn't feel strange coming in to meet you because we already knew you. Right.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. It's a major safety hazard on the road. Ghost-like vehicles with their lights off at night, and the driver doesn't know it.
So-called phantom vehicles are especially dangerous since the National Safety Council says more severe crashes happen at night.
Investigator Brendan Keefe found out why there are so many of these cars on the road right now.
When the sun goes down and the lights come up, the brightest objects compete for our attention. But the greatest danger is what's lurking in the shadows. Do you see it? Look closer. No headlights.
Driving in the wrong lane and without headlights. Sitting on the interstate with no headlights on.
Across the nation,
A vehicle with the headlights out.
The truck didn't have its headlights on.
phantom vehicles are causing crashes and taking lives. Why are we seeing more phantom vehicles now? It turns out the answer has been right under our noses this entire time. The modern instrument panel. It's always on, even when the headlights are off. Night or day, day or night. The gauge cluster and radio are always lit in car after car after car after car, manufactured in the last 10 years. Combined with the daytime running lamps, there are now multiple visual cues that the lights are on, even though the headlights and taillights are dark. Before dashboards went digital, analog gauges stayed dark when the headlights were off. Not anymore.
Most of our vehicles have technology where the headlights are automatically on as a default when you start up the vehicle.
Frank Weissman is with Atlanta-based Porsche North America.
Headlights are on through the auto function. I can actively turn them off here, get the little message that I've done that, but as soon as I move off again, or above 6 miles an hour, headlights and taillights come back on.
So even if the driver turns the headlights off, they will come back on automatically while they're driving?
Correct. And then if you wanted to turn them off while you're driving, you can't. And I can't turn them off even if I wanted to.
Porsche now installs these headlights on every new vehicle that has an always-on dashboard.
Is there ever a time where there are headlights on but there are no taillights on?
On these newer vehicles, no.
And now it's the law in Canada. All new cars sold since last fall must have taillights that come on with the daytime running lamps, or a dashboard that goes dark when the lights are off, or auto headlights on by default. Many new cars now sold in the U.S. were designed to meet the new Canadian standards. This is a new Ford. Turn the lights off, and the next time you start the car, the headlights default back to auto. New GMs have a spring switch, flipping back to auto when you restart the car.
So what we're getting the benefit of is essentially German engineering and Canadian regulation.
But the average car currently on our highways is more than 12 years old, which means we'll have to be on the lookout for phantom vehicles for another decade or so.
Here are the key takeaways. Set your headlights to auto if your car has that feature. Get to know your car's dashboard symbols. Look for the headlight indicator. And if another driver is flashing their lights behind you, it could be that your taillights are dark.
Now to a crime of opportunity that takes just seconds to commit and scores the thief easy money. Catalytic converter thefts dropped in 2023, but Carfax says it remains one of the most stolen parts reported to police across the country. Reporter Heather Graff examines what drives thieves to target this precious part and the steps congressional lawmakers are taking to combat this crime.
Clocked out at 5 to go home, started the truck, It was really loud. I climbed under there and the catalytic converter was gone.
Muncie Cerelia's catalytic converter theft was caught on camera. Thieves in this white BMW SUV drove into his work parking lot in North Las Vegas, swiped the part, and were gone in a matter of minutes.
You'll hear it pull in, and then they'll come in and be like, oh, I started my car this morning and it's really loud. Like, I don't know why it's really loud.
Mechanic Connor Schmidt says vehicles missing a catalytic converter make a very distinctive, loud noise like this. Mandated in the U.S. since 1975, catalytic converters neutralize harmful gases in the engine's exhaust that contribute to air pollution. The precious metals used to clean those fumes, namely platinum, palladium, and rhodium, are what thieves want. And the National Insurance Crime Bureau says metal recyclers will pay between $50 to $250 for a converter and up to $800 for one removed from a hybrid vehicle. At the same time, experts say repairs can be tedious and costly for car owners, and insurance may not cover it.
Those catalytic converters can be anywhere from $500 to $2,000.
Now there's a bipartisan effort underway on Capitol Hill to try to combat catalytic converter thefts across the country. The Preventing Auto Recycling Thefts, or PART Act of 2023, was introduced by Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar.
So this is a incredibly, maybe bizarre, but concerning crime.
Senator Klobuchar, who's also a former prosecutor, says converter thefts are not a haphazard crime.
Many of these have been rings of people that steal it. They don't just steal one catalytic converter and see, oh, where can I sell this? No, these are crime rings.
One big issue for law enforcement is that catalytic converter thefts are hard to track. So, Klobuchar says the PART Act would require car makers to stamp a vehicle identification number on converters for new vehicles, making it easier to prove the part is stolen. It would also create a grant program through which car owners can get traceable VIN numbers stamped on existing vehicles. And finally, the legislation would make catalytic converter thefts a federal criminal offense, with harsher consequences for thieves.
Why do you think it's important to put this in place at the federal level?
It's such an interstate crime, we know this. But if there's never a consequence, and if there is one, it's just a slap, well, that's not going to work. So it's got to be something more major, and that's why upping the penalties to a federal crime is a good idea.
The PART Act is supported by the National Automobile Dealers Association and other organizations, but the bill has not received any traction in Congress. Meantime, the vehicles most targeted for catalytic converters remain fairly consistent between 2021 and 23. The Ford F-Series truck ranks #1. That's followed by the Honda Accord, Toyota Prius, and Honda CR-V. The Ford Explorer rounds out the top 5.
Still to come, from spore to fork, a restaurant cooks up meatless meals and cultivates its key ingredient. We'll dig into the science behind their mushroom-based menu. But first, a scam that makes it look like you're getting something for nothing.
We have nothing to do with this process. We're just receiving all these packages.
We take an in-depth look at brushing and what you need to do if a mysterious box ends up on your porch. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
While it might not seem bad to get an Amazon gift from an unknown sender, an unexpected delivery can have consequences, including putting you at higher risk of identity theft.
The experts we spoke to say you could be the victim of what's known as a brushing scam, and your personal information may be at risk. Brushing scams get their name because scammers brush up sales results by creating fake orders and sending cheap goods to people who did not order them. Once a package is delivered, the scammer writes a positive review on their own seller account.
Consumer reporter Susan Campbell introduces us to a couple in Arizona who were inundated with packages they didn't order, and the steps you can take to give scammers the brush off.
At first, this might sound kind of cool. Free stuff delivered right to your doorstep. But it's actually part of a scam to create fake product reviews. It started with one package.
Oven shelf pad.
Then another.
Dog nail clippers.
And another.
Candle lamp.
We had 2 sets of curtains.
We have a lighted makeup mirror, an ice cream scoop. There was no rhyme or reason to anything.
Jeffrey Marshall and his wife Judy got about a dozen of these things from Amazon that they didn't order.
I haven't even opened it.
And then this one came through UPS.
Ah, just what I need.
On every package, it's their address, but someone else's name.
We actually went to a couple of these houses and said, do you know a James Vanderzee? And of course, no. It could be a made-up name.
Turns out it is. This is a so-called brushing scam. Online sellers know they need good reviews to boost sales. They send their products to a random address. That creates a tracking number, and it makes their fake reviews look legitimate.
Best case scenario, it's just your address, just your name and address. You get something free, and you're an unwitting accomplice in someone's online fraud. That's not great, but you do get something free. Worst case scenario, it means that at least one of your accounts, if not multiple, and possibly your payment information has been compromised. First and foremost, you need to check your accounts. Check your bank and credit statements just to make sure there aren't any strange charges on there. You should also just change your passwords, just in case.
Amazon prohibits third-party sellers from sending unsolicited packages. And the company says if that policy is violated, it may withhold payments, suspend selling privileges, and alert law enforcement.
My point to them was, you're inconveniencing us. I mean, we have nothing to do with this process. We're just receiving all these packages, and now you're telling us it's our responsibility to take care of these packages. And I don't agree. The more I thought about it, the more nonsensical it seemed.
Judy and Jeffrey reported every single unwanted package to Amazon.
Well, that was July 15th. We've heard nothing. So packages just keep appearing and appearing. Very frustrating. And the fact that, you're dealing with some enormous corporation where they basically just, allow this to happen, and you have no real recourse, no meaningful recourse.
Just a stack of stuff they don't want and can't use. If you get unsolicited packages like this, the Federal Trade Commission says they're yours. You can do whatever you want with them. Keep them, throw them out, or give them to charity. Just make sure you report it so possible patterns can be identified. In Phoenix, I'm Susan Campbell.
Our team has been warning you about fake reviews for products and services for the last several months. One man reached out to us after a company tried to give him a $50 gift card to remove his honest review about a product he bought online.
At first, it just felt strange, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, this is kind of like a bribe because you're asking me to, not really lie about your product, but to withhold information that could have been helping somebody else.
The federal government is now looking to crack down on behavior like this. It's proposing a new rule to keep consumers from being duped by fake reviews. You can read more about the latest scams and tricks by going to our website, InvestigateTV.com. Just type 5-star fakes in the search bar.
Two women on different sides of the Atlantic inspired to become pen pals.
We were just met, through friends and Girl Scouts, and this is what happened.
Still to come, their face-to-face meeting nearly 7 decades in the making.
And coming up next, what some just considered a pizza topper has become one of the hottest ingredients in the plant-based food movement. From farm to table, we trace the mushroom boom. Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.
You can call it a mushroom boom. In 2022, the New York Times named mushrooms Ingredient of the Year and an essential food for the plant-based food movement. The Times also said, quote, mushrooms are becoming more prominent in nearly every aspect of modern life. The Cleveland Clinic says the average American eats nearly 3 pounds of mushrooms a year. That's about the same weight as a small bag of potatoes.
Wow, mushrooms are taking center stage as a nutritious and delicious alternative to meat. because of its ability to mimic meat's texture and flavor.
Reporter Joe Vigil takes us to a restaurant in Las Vegas where mushrooms are more than just a side dish.
Where's the beef? Not in this burger. It's 100% meatless, but it's not your average plant-based patty. The main ingredient was grown inside this industrial building in Las Vegas, a fully functioning mushroom farm.
So we've got a total of 27,000 square feet here. We're currently growing in phase 1.
Rob Atchison is the farm operations manager. He says mushroom cultivation starts in the sterilization room, where they begin with the soil for the fungal spores grow. According to the Mushroom Council, mushrooms flourish under precise conditions. Mushrooms grown for food are grown in a very sterile environment to prevent contamination.
We treat it with pressure and temperature to make sure that there are no competing organisms within the substrate. And then after everything is sterilized, we're able to inoculate it or introduce the mushroom DNA.
Each mushroom bag will sit in these chambers for about 7 to 10 days. When it's ready, they can pull about 3 pounds of mushrooms from this one bag and use the same roots to regrow 2 more bags. And back to the beefless burger.
This thing is one of a kind. And for us to get to this point where we're at now, I've never had to work so hard on a menu before and go through so many trials and errors.
Shane Stewart is the founder and vice president of Chaga Root Restaurant in Las Vegas. Currently, his restaurant uses about 7 different types of mushrooms to create varying flavor profiles and dishes, even mushroom milkshakes. He says his passion is to create a fun, fresh menu that tastes good and is good for you.
You go to a lot of plant-based restaurants and you get a lot of salads or dishes that are made with products that you're better off not even eating that product.
And here's another fact about this fungus. The Cleveland Clinic says mushrooms may help protect your health and prevent disease. Mushrooms contain high amounts of vitamin D, B6, and selenium. Selenium can help prevent cell damage in our bodies. Vitamin D helps with cell growth, and B6 helps our bodies form red blood cells. In Las Vegas, I'm Joe Vigil.
Up next, hundreds of letters and generations of change inspire 2 women to bridge thousands of miles to make their lifelong wish come true.
We've come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download.
A pen pal is someone you write friendly letters to and receive letters from, although you two may have never met. You might have had one but lost track of them as you grew older. I feel like as people grow older, they have kids, there's just so much going on in their life, it's hard to keep in touch with people.
And writing a letter was such a classic way of just kind of, here I am, this is what we're doing, but it seems like a lost art now.
It really does, yeah.
Well, this next story isn't about losing track of a friend. It's about 2 women who stayed in each other's lives for nearly 7 decades, despite an ocean separating them.
After years of writing, they finally got the chance to put down their pens and exchange a hug. Reporter Lauren Korn captured their meeting.
Welcome.
Yes, lovely, finally.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Isn't it?
After all these years.
Absolutely.
Best friends?
We've missed each other
I know.
Together at last.
Finally.
Finally.
It only took 68 years and a flight across the pond.
3,839 miles.
That is beautiful.
To meet for the very first time.
After missing in so many instances when we said, well, if we can, we will,
right,
or whatever, and we've never quite managed to be on the same continent at the same time.
But thanks to Patsy Gregory's daughter,
it was totally overwhelming when they told me that we were finally going to meet.
She and longtime pen pal Carol Krause got a surprise of a lifetime.
We've come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah.
A chance to reminisce in real time.
We were just met, through Friends and Girl Scouts, and this is what happened.
The 2 who were born exactly 1 month apart,
June 6th and July 6th, yes.
Were 12 years old in 1955 when they started writing to each other.
It just says, Dear Patsy, thanks for the nice letter and the pictures. Also, thanks for the birthday gift. I would have written sooner, but with school starting and homework, there just wasn't enough time.
Dear Cappy and Dan, I can't believe another year has gone. Life is just
rushing
by, and at the moment it seems to be all work and no play.
Documenting all the major milestones.
We got married fairly close to one another.
Right.
We both had 3 children.
Yes.
And we've just gone through life, all the trials and tribulations,
That's
and
for
shared
sure.
it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just absolutely lovely.
Yes, it is. It's great that your
And we're
kids...
both still here.
Yes. Amen to that, right?
Their friendship evolved as seamlessly as the forms of communication they used.
When we first started writing, it was in pencil.
Probably in pencil, yes.
And then, a little later on, we progressed to pen.
Right.
And from pen, it was sort of our typing ability.
Yeah. Yeah. When we all got computers and
Yes.
email addresses and everything else like that. And now with Facebook, now it can be on
Social
instant
media,
messenger.
yeah. It didn't feel strange coming in to meet you because we already knew you.
Right.
You know?
Just that we had not
Never
met in
met,
person
yes,
and that. So
yeah.
that's true.
Because it even amazes me that it's so long.
Oh.
And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm T. Chappelle. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, guardrails meant to protect you, but when they're poorly maintained, the consequences can be deadly.
There's no way that somebody's inspected these, and they're literally rotting apart.
We reveal why and this man's personal mission to expose dangerous guardrails.